What my plan is, I want to put a starter on this motor and wind it over and see if that loosens it up. It's fairly tight. It's got better. You know, I've just been doing it by hand, but it's pretty tight. I need to put a rag on there to spin it. Like, it's tight. I've got to do it with two hands to spin it. So I'm hoping that if I put a starter on here and run it, wind it over a bit, that'll free it up. If not, it's got to come back out. I've got to pull the crankshaft back out and the pistons and see why the hell it's so tight. Now, first thing I'm going to do, that's our original piece there. We had that bit. We've actually got two starters now. This one needs some welding done on it. That's worn out. That needs to be welded and drilled. But I'm just going to use ours. This is a bit different. No, the same. They still do the same job. I think I'm not sure. I might use this starter. So anyway, we'll get that happening. Into an issue with this starter motor. See, that bolt doesn't line up. Someone's hacked into that thing anyway. I was going to use our one. Like, our one's fine. The one we had, this front section's good, but this part here of the actual starter's different. See that hole there? It doesn't line up. Let's see. This hole here doesn't line up with that, which isn't much good. So what I'm thinking I'll do, I don't want to modify this part at all because that's the original part, but I can modify it a little bit. What I'm going to actually do is drill it and tap it. I'm going to drill and tap that. I'm also going to have to carve a bit of this out, and I'll use a Allen key, an Allen head bolt down there. I'll have to make a bit of space. I've got no choice. These must be off an 800 because this section here is different. On our one, I'll just get it, I'll pull it back out. This is the one we had. So the difference is, see the mount bolt here and here, that's where the starter mounts to. On this side, this one, the mount is either side of the main, this bolt that bolts this part to the motor. And this one, these things are both on the lower side of the bolt. So that's in a different, actually a different spot. Like this bolt here should be here, but it's not. So anyway, they both work, but I reckon they're off an 800. Unless they've changed that, as they've got different 600 ones, but I'll be able to make it work. But done. I've re-drilled out this dowel hole here, so it was slightly off, so I've got that to fit good. And I've drilled a hole here and tapped it. So now that thing fits, so I'll just chuck it on and show you what I've got to do next. I've got two bolts holding this on and the pin, so that's in good. That's the original, right? There's this one here, a little gap there, but that doesn't matter. That's done up tight, and there's a pin. So what I wanted to do next, I'm just going to shave a little bit out of that, so I can put an Allen key, M8 Allen key bolt through there, and then I'll have two bolts holding it on, and that's it. That's for now. That's how it's going on. That fits in there. That's how it's going together for now. Like, it's an old car. Sometimes you've got to do stuff like that. Right, starter's in. Got a bolt there, two bolts there. It actually lines up, or lines up anyway. It's in solid. That is what it is. You know, apparently you can fit an 800. I'm assuming that's an 800 starter. You can do it. You've got to do a little bit of drilling and a little bit, you've got to tap one hole. Anyway, that's done. I'm just going to pull that back out and clean it. I'm going to clean all this and re-grease it. I'm going to do what I said, wind it over, then I'm going to pull it back out, and then I'll paint this and continue assembling it. Hopefully that's right, otherwise, like I said, I've got to pull the crankshaft back out. Also put two helicoils in there because this was all flogged out. Now it'll be right. Okay, starters in, all mounted in perfectly. Like I said, I used an Allen key down the bottom there, just so I can get that in there. and you know, I had no choice. We thought they said it was a 600 starters, and I'm pretty sure they're not, because they don't line. This part here is S600, and the other part is different, and these two parts are different. So I reckon that's an 800. So if you want to know, can you put an 800 on a 600? I did. All lines up good. Well, tomorrow I'll put the chain on. I'll put this stuff here on so I can run this engine over and see if it, you know, what it's like after that. Otherwise, I've got to pull this back out and paint it. Obviously, I'm not going to put it in like that. So I'll detail all that. Yeah, pretty much go back on and stay on as long as this is okay. It's not too bad. It has freed up a bit, but I want it to be freer than that. The last thing I want to do is pull that crankshaft back out. That's the last thing I want to do, because it's so hard to get it in. I've got this set up here on. Getting that in's a trick. There's a captive needle roller bearing in there, and I don't know how many needles it's got, but they all just float there. So I used engine assembly lube on that to help me get it in, because it just kept falling out. You know, I've got that in. I'd rather put in a new one of these, whatever they call those bloody washer things there. I keep forgetting. Anyway, I'm about to put this thing on, tighten that up and give it a spin, see how it goes. I've just rigged up a bit of a thing here so I don't have to put that pulley on. It's quite tricky to get on. I haven't been able to figure out how to get it on. It's something to do with those holes in the back, but I'm going to have to read up, because I've pushed it in as far as it goes. It still doesn't quite want to go on. Anyway, I only want to put that on once. This stuff's coming back off. I just want to see if this spins, how well it spins. Well, that was a dead loss. Apparently that pulley's got something to do with it, the starter. Without that pulley there, that thing just free-wheels. Anyway, I've got to try and get that pulley on if I'm going to do this. Getting pretty late here. This pin set up pretty much is how you put that on. The reason it wouldn't go on is because these splines are a bit burred over. So I just give them a bit of a clean on each edge, and now it goes on. It's tight, but it does go on. So I thought those things were stopping it. They weren't. That goes on quite easy with those pins in there. So I'm basically going to call it today. It's starting to get dark. I've had enough. I haven't eaten much today. So I've set the timing chain in there, because you can't get it on, obviously, if you don't put it in now. In perfect world, you'd change that chain. We don't have another one, so that's the one we're using. It's just a starter chain. So without that little thing there, it's like a clutch, that thing there, it doesn't work. The starter doesn't work. So tomorrow, I'll just start putting this engine together. That's all I'm doing. If it doesn't work, I'll pull it back apart. Simple as that. I reckon it'll be fine. It's freed up a lot, actually. I only just turned it over by hand. I tried doing it with that, just with that little battery I've got there, and it just spins. So it'll turn. It will turn. Back on the engine another day. I found something last night that reckons it's like an engine builder's chart thing, and a 4-cylinder engine with the head off it and the 4 pistons in. I'll have to remove these chains. 12.5 pounds is the maximum force that should spin. So I'm going to test that today. I'm hoping it passes, because I don't want to pull it back apart. Good news. I've got that set on 150 inch-pounds, which is 12.5 pounds. Turns no problems. I'll see how many pounds it is, the resistance, but it's got to be 12.5 or less, so it's not clicking. Well, that's great news. Another thing I found out last night, there's a little dot there on that sprocket. Apparently you line that up, you have that at top dead center, you line that up. There's supposed to be a red link. I think that's long gone. The red link's got something to do with lining up the timing, but I don't think we need that. I'll have a look for a red link, but I can't see one. I'm really happy I don't have to pull that crankshaft out. That's great. Now, what I'm going to do is lower that and lower that until I know how much pounds pressure it is, you know, before it clicks. Just come across another problem with this engine. It's timing chain. It's badly stretched. So looks like things are going to be put on hold for a little bit because we can't assemble it without a timing chain. I might as well get a new chain for the starter too. But the maximum length it can be is 914, and at the moment that's half of it is coming in at 465. Double that is 930, so it's quite stretched. It just, timing won't line up. If you put together the motor with that, it'll probably bend a valve. So that's maybe another reason why it blew up. Anyway, I'll just have to go and organise getting a new timing chain. I'm just going to be putting this engine on hold for a little bit, but it shouldn't take too long to get it, but it might take a couple of weeks, I don't know. What I've done, I've set this at top dead centre, and on that sprocket there, I've just got that in the way, but on that sprocket where the timing chain goes, there's a punch mark, and that's on the very bottom tooth. So the timing chain's supposed to have a red link on it, so I'm sure the new one will have it. I did find a bit of remnants of a red link on that, but so when I put that on, I'll make sure that red link's at the bottom, and it's got something to do with the timing lining up. But just for right now, I'm just going to put this little part here going. That's another part of the timing chain. We've got a new one. According to this, there's a thrust washer, number 7. It doesn't say what size or whatever. So basically it fits in there, like that rubs up against it. It just stops it from rubbing onto the block in there. And you can't really see it, but you can sort of see that lip. So I'm just going to make a little thrust washer, because I just don't have one that size. I've got this steel here, it's pretty close. I'm just going to turn down a fraction, bore it out, and then we've got a thrust washer. I can throw that on. I'll paint the starter. There's plenty of other things I can do. So anyway, I'm just going to do that for right now. Make this thrust washer, put that on, and I'm just going to forget this thing for a little bit. There's one homemade thrust washer. The way that goes in, you push that in, you leave that up to the top. It's like splashes oil in there, catches oil. So that goes to the top. I think that rubs up against something, somehow, one of the housings on the front when you put it on. So anyway, I'll tip a bit of oil in there, but I'm putting all this together and that can stay in there. Well, I've replaced, these are things that I've replaced today, that even though they're going in the bin, nothing gets chucked down until the whole thing's completely finished. I'll just throw them in that. But what I'm thinking I could do is actually, I've just replaced that seal there, is put the flywheel and the clutch on, and there's a part that goes here. I might as well get that done. That's got to come back off and be painted. Well, I've just got to wait for the timing change before I can really put much more on it. Anyway, I'm thinking about doing that. No, that doesn't go on next. Like anything, there is a sequence of putting these together. So there's a bottom section of the crankcase. That's got to go on next. I think I can put that on now. And then I can assemble the back. And then this front section, should be able to get at that with that lower casing on. So I'll just have a look at that. Just checking this chain tension is okay. Over the years, it's been over tightened. Now the thread where that goes, so that's pushed, that's flared that. When I undid that, it flogged out all the thread. So I'm going to have to fix this so we don't have a new one. I'll probably put a helicoil in there. I haven't got much choice. I don't really want to. Well, I'm going to have to. I just managed to save that. Luckily the thread wasn't flogged out all the way out, and I was able to re-tap it. So yeah, that's fine. Put a new bolt there. But we've just got our order from Germany, and I've got 2 new wheels, one for that and one for the top piece. So I don't know how you put them on. You'll make a rivet or something, it looks like. Anyway, I'll figure that out later. I'm knocking off for now. But tomorrow I want to put this bottom section on. There it is over there. And then I can fit the rear, I can fit the flywheel and the clutch. And just got to wait for these new chains. Okay, back on this thing. Today I'm going to be installing this. It's got a new seal. There's a new seal there. I'm going to put that on. That's the lower part of the crankcase. But the first thing I'm going to do is detail this starter motor. Get that ready. I've repaired the chain tensioner. It's pretty much ready to go. But yeah, we're getting a new starter chain as well. New starter chain, new cam chain. That being that long, it was definitely helping it. No, there's so many different things, reasons why this thing had no compression. That's another one. So tonight we'll be going through all this. There's €1,000 there. That's the order from Ortmann's in Germany. So while I'm waiting for the new cam chain to come, both chains, I can start working on all the stuff that's in here. Like I can rebuild all the master cylinders, wheel cylinders, put on all the rubbers. Like there's a lot of stuff in there. It doesn't look like much, but there's 2 pages of stuff. There's the starter all painted, ready to go. Just let that dry, put it back together. It's done. I was planning on installing this today, but it might be a bit tight getting the cam chain on once that's all the way down. I'm not sure if I can actually get the chain in there, like pop that off, that little front sprocket, but I don't want to put it on and have to take it back off, because you got to glue that on. There's no gasket for there. You just use gasket glue. So I think I'll be waiting. I'd rather sit that on there and then know that I don't have to take it off. I'm going to detail these parts here. I'm not sure if this thing's any good. I don't even really know what it is actually. Whatever that is, some sort of a condenser or something. I think I've cleaned this pump. I'll double check it. I've got a new thing for the end of it. That needs cleaning. I'll get them done and check them. But yeah, I'm not going to put that cover on that lower crankcase until I've got the chains. That stuff detailed up, it's ready to go on. I'll give it a quick coat of clear. Water pump, oil pumps all cleaned out. I've tipped a bit of oil in that too and give it a few spins. That's new, that bit, and there's a little gasket in there. That thing there's done. He's ready to go on. This thing here, I'll give it a bit of a clean, but I'll give that an aquablast. That's going to get done soon. First thing I'm going to put on here is new air filter. But yeah, I thought that was the wrong seal, but looks like we've got to glue it on. So I'm just going to glue that on. I'll throw that on. That's the first part I'm putting on out of this new order. We don't have any kick plates for this car, so I've just got some steel, cut it on a machine, and then I've trimmed it to follow this line. I thought that was straight, so I 90'd up some, but nah, there's a curve there, so I've filed that to run along that edge, and I'm just going to put double-sided tape on that, and that's it. No screws. In the future, we come across the original stuff, which it does come up, we'll grab it, and then I'll just take them off. The other side's the same. I'm installing the new door rubber. It's quite a nice piece actually. It's just like the factory one. Up here, there's got these things. I painted them yesterday. There's one for each side. And I've got 3 stainless screws. They go in there and hold that on. So I'm just about to whack that all on. This thing, I will glue it on later, but this inside flap goes over, I'm pretty sure it goes over the inner panel. So I'll put a little bit of glue on that once these side panels are in. I'm just waiting for the material to come to cover them. They're going to be covered in like a dark red. Pretty happy with the way they came out. They're really nice. A nice part. They want to be. They're €245 plus delivery from Germany. So they're not cheap. There's also a rubber that goes on the door, but that basically seals the door, this rubber here. The other one just, I don't know, it just goes along the bottom, I think, from memory. Along the bottom of the door. I have to check it out, but we've got that as well. Now, I won't do the other side. I must admit that was fairly easy. Not much is easy on that car. I'll tape the other side's just as easy. Pretty happy with those parts. Like the window rolls up and seals in that, like the special rubber. There's no way you're ever going to be able to make that, not sealed like that. So it's certain things you got to buy. They cost a lot of money. You just got to have them if you want the car to turn out good. Anyway, that went on easy. It's a rare thing for this car to have something go on easy. I'll probably knock up a video and just show you what's going on. I'm going to go through all those parts. I'm about to pull the wheel cylinders apart, make sure that we've got all the right parts to get those things all done. I've got to pull the master cylinders apart and just make sure everything's there, because they stuffed up a bit of our order and we've got to reorder stuff. The new speedo cable didn't come, the water pump kit didn't come, and I've got to get them chains, the cam chain and the starter chain. We're going to be ordering them tonight or tomorrow night. They come pretty quick. They should be here within about 10 days. They are pretty quick. Anyway, thanks for watching.